Hello and welcome back to the Lee Summit Town Hall Podcast. I am your host, Nick Parker. This is a great time to remind everybody that this podcast is brought to the good people of Lee Summit by Budget Blinds of Lee Summit, a great local company run by a great local family. Budget Blinds is your home for signature series shades. And as always, I like to tell everybody it's also your home for those robot shades. You want to control your shades, your window treatments with your smartphone, your smart speaker, all of those things. You can say, hey Alexa, open my blinds, and it'll do it for you. It's the home of the robot shade overlords, Matt. Just want you to know that.
I'm very familiar.
If you are ready to make your home a smart home, go see our friends at Budget Blinds of Lee Summit, located right in the heart of downtown. Tell them Nick sent you. This is our Veterans Day episode. We're recording this a week before, actually. But it still fits. It's Patriotic Day, right? This is Election Day in November, and next week is Veterans Day. Our guest today is the leader of our Lee Summit Chamber, a veteran himself, Matt Baird. Welcome back.
Thank you, Nick. Glad to be here. Excited to share my story about Veterans Day.
I appreciate it, and I'm realizing as I think back, I don't know that I've done in I think February or March it'll be 10 years of this podcast. I don't think I've done a Veterans Day episode, which is both, I think, a little bit of me being lazy and forgetting about things.
Yeah.
Or I'll remember it the Veterans Day and be like, I should have done a Veterans Day show.
Well, I'm honored to be part of it and to be your first one.
Our first one.
Yep. Yep.
I think some of it, too, is I struggle a little bit with doing these types of things because I always want to make sure that they are earnest, they are intentional. And the cynic in me doesn't want to be the guy who, hey, there's a veteran, thank you for your service. And I just say it out of obligation. Or I don't want it to come off out of obligation. And I use the example of I rarely have done breast cancer awareness episodes.
Right.
My wife is a 10-year breast cancer survivor. I should do those.
Yep.
But I always feel like, is it coming off genuine?
Right.
And I don't want things to not be genuine.
Right.
So that's a me thing. It's it's my own problem. But I'm glad that we can do it. And I'm curious, like, is that me just being cynical, or as a veteran, what's your reaction when people walk by and say, "Hey, thank you for your service," just out of the blue?
Yeah. So I do. I think that I'm not looking for that type of recognition, right? When if someone tells me that, I'm very appreciative of that. But I think that it just depends. I do think that, and what I have recognized is that your older generations are very appreciative of that. They like that recognition, and again, they've experienced a lot, and so they do like that. So what I would say is, I wouldn't pause, right? I would go ahead and do it if you know that person's a veteran and you want to thank them. I absolutely would do that. I think that it's, at the end of the day, they're very appreciative of that.
I've heard some different reactions from some friends and family members who have served, who have said sometimes it's hard, and they're like, well, you don't know me, or you don't know what I did, or I have a friend who he's like, I never left the Midwest.
Yeah.
In my entire service, I was within 50 miles of my hometown.
Right.
And he's like, so I feel bad because there's other dudes, there's other men and women that you should thank.
Mm-hmm.
I was in supply chain in middle of America, and they feel like they're getting thanked for they didn't do a whole lot. There
is that feeling sometimes, right? There are. I mean, I served during 9/11, and I never was sent overseas. But here's the thing: we all joined. We all knew that could happen to us. I just happened to be at a unit that was transitioning from one type of armor to another, and so we weren't deployable ready yet. So it's one of those where, at the end of the day, it's, yes, there are some of those who we didn't go overseas. It's like my father-in-law. He served during Vietnam, but he never went to Vietnam.
My father was the same way. Yeah,
didn't go to Vietnam.
I think he had one trip overseas. I want to say my mom said it was Germany, and I don't know. My father died when I was young, so I don't know all the stories. Yeah. But I think she said, like, he escorted some general over to Europe once, but never had to leave for Vietnam. Which, looking back on it now, she says, I'm kind of glad.
Right. I mean,
but I think service is service.
It is, and that's how I look at it.
And I didn't want that story that I was relaying of a friend of mine to be like putting down, because that was just his reaction to it. Yeah. And I think sometimes, like, we're not good at accepting thank yous.
Mm-hmm.
a lot of
Right.
times. Right.
Yeah, I would agree.
And you and I are of a generation that we've seen all sorts of reactions. Our grandparents were World War II era.
Yeah.
Our parents' generations were Vietnam era. The way America reacted to them coming home was different for those two.
Yep.
And then you and I, as teenagers, saw the first Gulf War.
Yep.
As adults, we've seen 9/11 and all that. So we've seen all the different reactions, and then also the different reactions of the veterans themselves. Like our grandparents. If you said thank you, their response was, "Don't thank me, thanks the ones that didn't come home."
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
They didn't talk about their stories. They didn't share their stories. Yeah.
No, like my own grandfather, who Bronze Star recipient, Purple Heart recipient.
Yeah.
We didn't put all the stories together until after he died, and I was at the funeral home with my two surviving uncles at the time, and we realized that we each had a different piece of the story of how he got his Purple Heart and what he did to get his Bronze Star. Like, he had never told anyone the whole story.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
And so it took a weird thing to put it all together.
And you hear that a lot, Nick. I mean, that's just a lot of the stories that you hear from the greatest generation.
Right.
They just don't talk about it. And then obviously with Vietnam, man, the country was so torn at that time. With indifferences on should we or shouldn't we be there, that a lot of the mental health issues really started to come up with that generation.
I feel like we're better now, because even if I think back to I was sophomore or junior in high school when the first Gulf War happened, Desert Storm.
Yep.
When that happened, and I think from then even through 9/11 and today, I feel like we're better at, we can debate whether or not we should be there as a country, but still agree, like, these are people serving, sacrificing, and we can all agree, let's thank them and let's take care of them.
Yeah, absolutely, and you do see that.
Like, we're better at that now. Whereas I feel like, and obviously you and I weren't there, we're alive, but I feel like the stories we've been told about Vietnam era where you were either or.
Yeah. Or you got drafted, right?
Or you got, which is a whole other thing.
That's a whole other thing.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Right.
And so my dad got drafted. So and his number was just there. He was at an age where it's just what happened. And so so just speaking from my dad's experience, he didn't talk a lot about his time there. He was only there. He was there 18 months. That was the time you had to give, was 18 months. But yeah, you definitely have seen, you saw a shift as a country when Desert Storm happened, and became more. We didn't want to relive the nightmares of Vietnam again, and we didn't want our veterans to come home to not being very welcomed. And that's changed. You're right. We've made a change with that. I like that
you said it. I hadn't thought of it that way until you said it. That there was an intentional let's be better about how we talk about, how we support, how we see our service members and the veterans coming home.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, we had a yellow ribbon on our tree. Yep. I didn't have a brother or a parent serving during Desert Storm, but I had a cousin who was a Marine tank commander, like 2 or 3 times removed, right?
Yeah.
Family-wise.
Yeah.
But we were still in solidarity with, we've got someone over there.
Yep. We had a yellow ribbon as well, and our school supported those that had graduated from our high school who were over there. We supported them, wrote them letters, and it was really neat to be a part of it.
When you hear thank you for your service, when you think about honoring service, I guess talk about what that service means. I mean, we talk a lot about nonprofits and things on the show, but that's a whole other kind of what is it? I'm asking this horribly.
Yeah,
to a bad interviewer, but
joining the military, that's purely voluntary, and that's what makes our military so awesome. Is we don't draft anymore. We learned our lessons from drafting. The 70s were a really bad period of time because it was sort of the remnants of the draft. And it was just not good. And so I think that, when service is very, the mentality has changed a lot with regards to, giving your 4 years or your 2 years to your country. And when I say that, you really are giving it. You don't know what could happen. You don't know where you could go. You can't dictate a lot of it within that short period of time. Yes, as you eventually your high-ranking officers, it becomes more of a political ball, if you will.
Right.
But not for those that just have come in and have served their 2 to 4 to 6 years of service. They truly are giving their time to the country, and I think that's what's special about it.
You've said that you joined through an ROTC program as a way to pay for college, which is, I think, a cool program that our country does.
Yeah.
You serve, and we'll help you get prepped for that next phase of your life.
Yep.
But was there more to it for you? I mean, had you thought about military service before?
I had, yes. I was a big history buff. I loved to read war books. I loved to read about the Civil War, World War I, World War II. So I did have that attraction, right? That did attract me, reading up about all of these great war stories and generals that I wanted to that I could envision myself being someday. And so that did help as a young child, reading some of those books, and then in high school realizing, hey, you know what, I'd like to try to maybe live this out in some way, some fashion. And ROTC was my ticket to at least experience that.
Did it meet all your expectations?
It did, and it didn't. And the reason I tell people I got out of the military was because I felt like the leadership was very lackluster. There was, you're in the military, you do what they say. And there were many leaders that I really I had a hard time respecting because I knew who they were. I saw decisions that they were making. For instance, I felt like, I was a very fit person. I always wanted to make sure that the soldiers saw me as being one of the first ones to succeed at a PT test, for instance. And I would see a lot of commanders that just had the opposite mentality, and I struggled with that. And then the other thing I saw that was a sort of a negative at the time was I saw really good leaders getting out, and I saw the ones that I didn't really have a very, very much respect for staying in. And I was really, I struggled with that. And ultimately I did get out. And there's times where I'm like, man, if I would have stayed in, I could have had that mentality, or I could have been that good, person that they could look up to. But again, at the time I was young, and I'm seeing really good leaders that were getting out. And I struggled with it, and ultimately made that decision to go ahead and get out as well. And I totally respect those that stayed in. And I've got good friends that made my decision and got out. And I got a couple of awesome friends who were great leaders growing up. Now they're going to be it's crazy. They're going to be a general. It's awesome to see that.
That's got to be weird, like friends you grew up with.
Oh, it's crazy.
And they're about to be generals.
Yeah. One of them's a full bird colonel. He has done everything you're supposed to do. He has hit every mark. And if you do that, you get to the next level. And he's awesome. He's a great, great person.
That's awesome.
And he and I went in together, which is amazing.
And then that kind of makes you feel a little old too, probably.
It does. It does.
I want to shift gears a little bit, and I want to talk about a program that the Chamber does, which I think is really cool, kind of a way to honor local veterans. You every year, I think you've done it 4 or 5 years now, maybe longer.
Yeah.
Banners on the lights through downtown. Some of them are just themselves. Some are ancestors, right?
That's
a generation or two past.
Yep.
People can put these photos up as a way to honor our local banners. How'd that program get started?
Yeah, so the Chamber has a group called the Military Affairs Committee, and we started probably 2017, 18 with the help.
Oh, so longer than I think.
Yeah, well, the Military Affairs group has, and we knew that. So the City of Lee Summit has a sister squadron down at Whiteman, and it's the 509th Civil Engineering Squadron. And so the Chamber, with my experience in the military, we took that on with the city. And Jim Hallam was sort of our liaison, and built a relationship. And one of the things we did was we started it as a committee. I invited other veterans and those who aren't veterans to go ahead and be a part of it, and they did. And with that, we started thinking about, okay, what can we do to showcase and represent and really put a spotlight on our veterans, and then how can they also be supportive of Lee Summit? And again, this is the relationship with Whiteman. And one of the things that we came up with was a banner program, and we'd seen it in other communities, and it seemed to be pretty successful, and so we tried it, and we opened up as many spots as I could in downtown, and I think there were about 23 or 4 spots, but we really wanted to just basically be off of 3rd Street. We knew that was the main strip.
Right.
And that's where most of the polls were at. And Nick, we sold out 20 banners, boom, like that. And it was awesome. And so it was a big success. What we do with that is they are up for about a month and a half during the fall time. Downtown Main Street's been a great partner with this. They have the banners throughout the year, other banners, but they've allowed me to be a part of it during that September-October timeframe. And once they come down, we host a Veterans Day luncheon in November, and so ours is coming up November 14th, where we bring in a speaker, but we also invite all of those who were on the banners who are living, and their sponsor or family member to come and be a part of it. And Whiteman brings a color guard. We have the national anthem sung. Dom Bennett has sung it here from Lee Summit. This year we're having Officer Cantrell sing it, who is on the Lee Summit Police Department, does a fantastic job. So we do all those things, and then we have a guest speaker. They typically talk about something veteran related, or they share a story that really is impactful. And sometimes there's success stories. Sometimes it's more about mental health, veteran awareness, that type of thing. But we get so much recognition from it. It's been awesome, and so we're very proud of it.
That's really awesome, and I'm glad you talked about that event. That comes on at the end, because I was trying to think of, like, the banners are one cool thing, but how are we kind of making sure that as a community we're always recognizing?
Yeah, and so that's one thing that the group has really tried to figure out is there some way that we can honor these veterans who are getting the banners? Is there a way we can keep it living and keep it going? And we've spoken with Parks and Rec, Lee Summit Parks and Rec, about some opportunities to put them on fences. We've talked about putting them on the historic Lee Summit Cemetery that they oversee, putting them on the banners. The problem is that they wouldn't be able to be up very long. They are going to get worn and tattered, and so right now the sponsor or the loved one or that veteran, they get to take them home, and then they get to keep them.
How important is it that a community, and really, actually, I want to flip the question. How important is it for veterans to have those connections to community and to know that they're recognized, that it's something the community sees?
It's huge. We have everybody who comes to the Military Affairs Committee, for the most part, are veterans, and they are looking for that gathering spot where they can come and share their stories, that they can be that recognition is there for them, and that's what we've been able to provide. Is that we have a number of chamber members who are veterans who partake in it, who participate in it, and then we have some that, like Jim Hallam, that's really his main deal is this military affairs group and supporting it because he believes in it so much and he believes in it that much. And it's great to see that. So I would say that, having the community that we have here in Lee Summit and just the support that they've given in the past really helps keep that going and keeps that alive.
What are some other things, I guess, that you're doing with that committee and you're working with? We have the Sister Squadron out at Whiteman, which I think we all know about Whiteman. Yeah, but we don't know.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Well, that group does really cool stuff. We've got they have a base community council, and they partner with 17 cities. Lee Summit being one of them, and Lee Summit's actually one of their main communities that really provides things to them. So what this group does, Nick, is we provide our big thing is and money raised from the banners goes to this, but we put together welcome bags. And the welcome bags are given to Whiteman Air Force Base, and they are given to new airmen who are coming into the base. They are loaded with Lee Summit stuff, credit, gift cards, coupons, merch, all kinds of stuff, all from Lee Summit, with the plan, with the whole idea of getting them to come to our community, be in our community, shop in our community. So there's a two-way street to this, right? We're giving them as much as we can, but we really want some of that recognition back to our community.
Yeah.
And so we do that with them, and they love it. They love it. We provide Mavericks tickets, so they come to the Mavericks games. We give them Powell Garden stuff. Just a number of things that we do with our airmen at Whiteman that Lee Summit's really helping drive that. So those are some things that we do. We do what they call
right up the Chambers alley.
Right, we love it. We do Wreaths Across America every December, and so that is laying wreaths on veterans' graves, cemetery, and that's obviously a very big honor to do that as well. So those are just some of the big things that we are a part of, that this group's really engaged with. We also support the Veterans Day Parade. We support our local ROTC.
This coming Saturday is our local Veterans Day Parade.
It is, yep.
Run by our local VFW on Douglas Street. I'm going to get the number wrong. 5789? I
think it is, yeah. I'm not positive.
I apologize if I'm wrong. I'll have to look that up.
They are the sponsor for it. They're the main host of it. But so we do that. But one of the things I did want to mention is we also fully support our junior ROTC cadets here at our local high schools, as well as our Civil Air Patrol, which is just out here at the airport. So they also participate in our meetings every month. We get them to come and do stuff. They come to Oktoberfest. They do the color guard for our Oktoberfest, which is always a fun thing to do. They have we've had cadets sing the national anthem. We've done a lot of different things. They come and help clean up on Sundays for our festival. So we have that relationship as well.
I kind of want to connect a little bit to what you said earlier about the welcome packets and the things, which is you should do it, but it helps with the Chamber's mission, right, of promoting the community and the business community. I don't know if people realize how many former Whiteman service members live here.
Yeah, right.
When they leave,
tons
when they leave the service. And some of that has got to be because of that relationship and the work that this group's doing. Absolutely,
and we get some of our guests are from Whiteman who live in Lee Summit, and it's great because we had one of our commanders who would come to our meeting every month. He actually his wife worked in Lee Summit. And so he would just leave our meeting and then go meet up with her in Lee Summit. They'd go have dinner and stuff. So very, very close. They all are very, very proud of that connection that we have with Whiteman and Lee Summit. And it's great to have that, just to see that with what they can provide.
I think that's I really like what you're doing. Maybe we can work together and figure out a way to do more.
Yeah, absolutely.
To do more and to recognize, to tell stories, right, of the people, but I think that connection of community is vital.
One of the things I forgot to mention, just with that connection between Whiteman and Lee Summit, a third of the B-2 pilots live in Lee Summit. A third of their pilots.
Wow.
And I that blew me away because I remember asking them, I'm like, do you guys have to be like right there at base because you're flying missions? And they were like, you won't believe this, but a third of our airmen or of our pilots live in Lee Summit. And honestly, and this is a shout out to our schools, it's because of the school district. Mm-hmm. They want their kids to be in good school district, and Lee Summit provides that to them.
I have met a lot of current and former A-10 pilots in Lee Summit. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I've met B-2, but then again, they probably don't talk about it much to people like me.
Probably pretty quiet. They lay low. But I think that's
not what they bring up around me.
Yeah, right. I can see that. But no, it's what's awesome and what I love to see, Nick, is again, with that connection to Whiteman, they're here because of what we can provide as a community, schools, healthcare, all the things that we are so proud of in our community. Whiteman Air Force Base and the airmen, they see that and they want to be part of it.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I want to be cognizant of time. I know you told me you have a very important meeting to get to in about 5 minutes or so. So as we wrap, I just want to say, hey, Matt, thank you for your service before, and I think thank you for service now too, for what you're doing with these programs to make the community connections and to recognize. I think those are just as important.
Well, I can't thank you enough for inviting me to talk about it, to share about it, to get the message out, because it is important. And we, as a community in Lee Summit, are very, very proud of our veterans. We have that relationship with Whiteman. It's just great to see that we are a supportive community with regards to everything that our military has done and continues to do.
Let's make a deal. We'll do this again next year.
Thank you. Thanks.
That'll wrap us up for this week. We'll talk to everybody next time.